Yeehaw! The KGC Show, the Cowboy Caden, the KGC Show, the Cowboy Caden. Everybody know, ohs. Everybody know, ohs. The KGC Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the KGC Show. And today I am joined by a legendary member of the Oak Ridge Boys. And not only that, but he is a great show on Wednesday, June the 5th. And they just announced that they're going to be back at 3rd and Lindsley also with William Lee Golden and the Goldens. He's also a singer, a painter, an author, and we might be talking about something, a songwriter, maybe later on in the show. We'll bring all that up. But from the pride and joy of Brewton, Alabama, my friend and yours, Mr. William Lee Golden. Golden, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Caden. Good to see you today.
Oh, it's great to see you.
Thanks for letting me be on your show again here.
Yes, sir. And before we get into it, don't forget to get this book, Behind the Beard, at William Lee Golden and thegoldens.com or wherever you get your books. And are you still signing these?
Yeah, I sure do. I sign them almost every week. Scott Engel will bring 2 or 3 cases of books over, big boxes, and I sit here and sign books. And I sign them, when we're going on the road with the Oak Ridge Boys. So we take them out there too, and it's been doing real good. So I'm thankful. Scott did a great job putting it all together. And Scott comes out of television. He was a television writer, producer, and host up in Illinois when I first met him, and had a noon show up there. But then he moved to Nashville and worked with RFD Television here, and then he started writing books, man, for different country music people and country stars. And so he had asked me 3 or 4 times about writing a book, and I wasn't sure about it. So it was during the pandemic, he called again, and I said, well, come on. I was down at the family farm for a week or 10 days. And so I told him, just come on down to the farm, and he could see where it all started with me. And he did, and he got to meet my sister that taught me how to play music and sing. She lives across the street from the home I grew up in, and I still go back to the home I actually grew up in. My mother and dad built that house when I was 8 or 9 years old, and so I still go back and sleep in the same bedroom that I slept in growing up, and different bed, but the same bedroom. And
yeah.
So I was there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm going back down here in another couple of weeks.
You like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, and I'd encourage anybody to go get this book because it is one of the best books you'll ever read. I told him before the show, and I'll say it again. One of my favorite books to pick up is this book and the Bible. Those are 2 powerful books that every time I read something, I get a new thing out of. And Scott England did a great job at capturing you in this book. And I love the way it turned out. So make sure that you guys go get this at WilliamLeeGolden.com and WilliamLeeGoldenBook.com as well. Don't forget that. But you'll be playing a show with Rockland Road on June the 5th. What does that mean to you? And can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, it'll be the first time that we've actually got to sing together. It's Dwayne Allen's family, actually, the lead singer with the Oak Ridge Boys, and his daughter, his son-in-law, and his 4 grandkids. And they're extremely talented. His daughter, his son-in-law, and his grandkids are all talented. But it'll be our first time to be on the same show together, and we'll be working together on I think it's a Wednesday night up in Shipshewana, Indiana, at the Blue Gate Theater up there. It's a beautiful theater. It's out in the middle of beautiful cornfields.
Yeah, and make sure that you guys get your tickets. Are there still tickets available?
I'm sure it is. They always find tickets up there at the Blue Gate Theater, Shipshewana. But it's a great theater. A lot of people play the theater, so it's and it's in Amish country too. It's a beautiful landscapes and beautiful farms and horses and buggies, and it's just a great place to kind of relax and go back and sing good country and gospel songs.
There you go, man. You and the Oak Ridge Boys are on your 50th year anniversary farewell tour. First off, congratulations to all four of you guys. 50 years is an accomplishment within itself. But how has 50 years on the road with the same group been? How has that been for you?
Well, it's actually been a wonderful thing, you know. I mean, we've in years past we've had our ups and downs, but it's like a family situation, really. You know, I mean, we spend more time together on the road than we do with our families a lot of times, and but it's you get to know each other, and so you get to respect each other for the unique talents that they each one has, and to what they each one bring to the Oak Ridge Boys to make it what it is, and to make it the success that we've achieved back in the days, and you know, for us to still be together and still be out there doing this year, I think we're booked like 75 dates out there on the road, and then that's half of what we used to do. You know, we used to do 150 dates on the road every year, but during the past couple of years, we've had to slow down some because Joe become more difficult for Joe Bonzel to get around and tour at the schedule of 150 days a year for sure. So we had to back it off to kind of help accommodate Joe's uh, slowly deteriorating physical abilities, you know. But that kind of happens to people when they get a little older, and different people do different things, and so, but it was something that Joe was helpless in, and it's same thing with the Oak Ridge Boys. You know, we're helpless in the situation, but what we've done is some of these dates were booked prior to Joe being forced to tell us that he had to stay home because it was impossible for him to continue touring at the pace that we were touring, and to also have the energy to sing because he was getting weaker and being able to sing. And anyhow, it was heart wrenching for us, and I know it was certainly something that he struggles with too. And I have to hand it to him. He was a real trooper, you know. I mean, he went as long as he possibly could, and it was. I know Dwayne and Derek would a lot of times have to help him on stage and off stage, but it was his heart was still there, and his energy, his voice was still there until the end of December, basically, and then that's when he said that it was and it was 2 days, our last 2 days of the Christmas show. He seemed to lose more energy, and it was such a struggle because I think that time when we had more than 2 or 3 dates in a week, sometimes it would really take a toll on his energy level out there for the past year. But God works in mysterious ways. There's a young man, Ben James. I've got grandkids older than Ben James, and but it was a godsend when he come to us and said, "Guys, I'd like to try out for that part if I can help." He said, "And I'll be there to help if Joe's needing it now. And so he came out one weekend with us and played rhythm guitar with us. But then and Joe was still singing good at that point, but he was getting weaker. And anyhow, when Joe said he couldn't go any further, then 2 weeks later, Ben came out. Ben James did, and he filled in, and we didn't even have a rehearsal. But he never missed a note. He sang every note that Joe had sang, and put his own feelings to the songs. And Tony Brown played piano with us in the early years, and then Elvis hired him from the Oak Ridge Boys. But after Elvis left, Tony became a record producer, and he produced some of the biggest names in country music. He still produces George Strait and Reba McEntire and people like that. Vince Gill, but he told when he heard Ben James singing, he said he was amazed. He got through singing. He said, "Man," he said, "I've only heard one voice like that." He said, and so he said, "It's second time I've heard a voice that good." And he said, "You've got a voice just like Vince Gill." And anyhow, he said, "Do you like Vince Gill?" He said, "I love Vince Gill. You know, I grew up hearing his songs and singing his songs at home." So he had actually recorded some at Vince's place. But you know, he's got that kind of voice. It's that high, lonesome sound voice of Vince Gill sound. And again, it's been a whole generation, and there's no one else who's had that voice. And Tony said this is a brand new generation of a Vince Gill voice. And anyhow, it's good to have someone that can step in. And you know, we got social media messages this past weekend after 2 shows in Ohio, and they were talking about, said that Dan James was a perfect fit. So I happen to agree with that.
And I do too. I sure do pray that Joe's doing, and I do pray that Joe's up to good faith. And you got to do something really cool for your birthday past year. You got to go sit in a NASCAR, and you know, what was that like for your birthday?
Man, I've never been that fast in a car. You know, it's and I was up for it, but it was a real unique experience. There was a guy from Forbes magazine that invited me. He actually drives these race cars, but and I was invited to come down to Daytona Beach to the racetrack, big racetrack there, and it was on one day there around my birthday, and so I went down. And but you buckle up, they put you in a suit, they put the helmets on you, and then you climb in the thing and you buckle up, and when you're ready, man, I mean, he takes off, and it was a stick shift, like about a 4-speed, and he come out of there, and when he threw it when he finally put it in the high speed, man, was coming into that curve, first curve. He never slowed up. He went around that entire track. It's 2.5 miles around. We were making every round about 1 minute. And anyhow, man, he would go in those curves. You're coming into it, and he's not slowing up any. But when you come into it, the centrifugal force of going into a curve and how it's putting your body into the car, and my legs were as hard as I could on the floorboard, and you're going in them curves and holding. So yeah, it was quite an experience, man. And I had to trust him and realize he knew what he was doing because I sure did. He told me before. He said if you want it to go faster, give me a thumbs up. If I need to slow down, give a thumb down. I was holding on so fast, holding on so hard, I forgot to even mention that. So yeah, we were wide open, man. 180 miles an hour around the track, into the curves, and the whole bit. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah. And congratulations on your pieces on Forbes magazine. I got to read them all, and they were all great pieces. So congratulations on that, my friend.
Yeah, I thought he was interesting to talk to, and he told me after we were talking there for a bit that we had a few things in common. We both love great music and good rock and roll music, and anyhow, I felt good about the interview, and then he told me then that rather than it be one interview, that he had some things he would like to make 3 pieces and 3 different stories about it. So that worked out good.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the show, Golden, I had made mention that you're a songwriter, and I understand from a little birdie the streets that 85 years old wrote your first song. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I did, man. I wrote a song. It was a song that came to me, and it was I was here by myself, and it was a song about my son Solomon, and I was missing him, and it was I was having all these emotions and feelings going on that day. I was lonely, and it just took me back, and sometimes I'd be in tears or whatever because it'd been several weeks since I'd seen him, and it was just he was turning 18, and you feel like that they're slipping away from your grasp, so to speak, of being able to have time together. And so I just started moaning and humming these melodies I was feeling, and then I started thinking about things and putting words to it, and I did, and then so I had it all in my mind, and I did write some of the words down to make sure I didn't forget them, and but I had never tried to sing it for anybody, and anyhow, Jeff Panzer had he knew that I was talking about that I'd written something, and so he asked me to send it to him. So I said, "Well, man, I don't have a copy of it." So then he told me about to use my phone to there's a voice message on there to go ahead and just sing it into the thing and then let him hear what I was doing. So I did, and sent it to him, and he played it for Danny and Stephanati and Kurt, or we asked her if there was some way she could kind of help us tighten it up and put my melody, music to my melody and words and all. So she helped it. She kept my same melody and everything, and put a little more energy into it, and took out on down in there some things and replaced it with repeat lines that fit it much better and helped me clean it up at the end, and put a track together for me with her singing it and sent it to me, and I was blown away with it. So then she was here, and we recorded a track of it again here at home, and both of us singing the song and changing it out. Let her take a verse, and I liked her taking the second verse. And but she plays guitar on it and sings. She put the whole track together, and but yeah, I just look forward to at least we have what was in my heart. It was I put out, and I just wanted to have it something that my son can have to treasure, hopefully,
Yeah.
for time in the future.
Yeah. You know, you talk about the incredible Danny, and man, what a career she is having, man. Isn't it exciting?
It's what now?
Danny's career.
Yeah, I tell you, it's she's won some good awards, and she's just an extremely good talent, and I think she has a bright future that I don't know of anyone that has that unique of a talent for us, what she can do, and especially like on a guitar, and her songwriting ability and her performing ability is she's kind of like the whole package. She was here in Nashville, and I introduced her to some of the friends that I know, the people that over the Grand Ole Opry, and she was out there with us, and, with some other people around town too.
Yeah, I know that. I know that you're good buddies with Tracy Lawrence.
Yeah, Tracy's a good guy.
I saw
He's
him.
got a podcast too.
Yeah, I saw him a few nights ago here in Spokane, playing a show here, and I went to saw him, and it was incredible, man.
Really?
He still puts on one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Well, he's that real country, he's got that true country voice. He's from Louisiana, I believe, down that way somewhere. But yeah, he's always had a great voice since the very beginning. He come on the scene, and he's one of these young guys that had an incredible country voice.
Yeah, and before we end up the show, I want to talk about one last thing, that you'll be playing a festival in Florida with Garth Brooks. Are you excited about it? Is Garth?
Yeah, hey, we get to see Garth occasionally, I mean, we see him at events around Nashville, at the Hall of Fame and places. And so we always see Garth in basically every Hall of Fame ceremony every fall in October. And but we see him different times of the year, maybe out at Grand Ole Opry or different places. And but yeah, to be on the show with him with a big festival down in Florida, I think it's in Panama City, Florida area, where it's going to be. And it's a big weekend of music. So the Oak Ridge Boys, I think, will be there on the Sunday part of the festival.
And I'm gonna try to make the jump out there and out and see the festival. I would love to come out and make the trip out there.
Well, do that, man. I look forward to seeing you if you get there. Spend the whole weekend there, though. If you're coming out there, go for the whole deal. It's a big show, big lineup. Each day is another day of great lineup of talent. I grew up down in that area, It's not far from Panama City. And I grew up right near Pensacola Beach and Navarre Beach, that's just south of our family farm there in Alabama.
Yeah, I can't wait that's going to be the first ever big trip that I make. I'm going to bring the family, come watch the Oaks and Garth.
Great.
I'm going to bring everybody with me. I got one last question. You are, what is it different for you as a major artist with the Oak Ridge Boys versus an independent artist with the Goldens? What is that like for you? As you have the best of both worlds.
Well, it's what it's like is, with the Goldens during the pandemic, I got together, and everybody that sings and musicians were all sent home, and we were told that we were unessential, and to go home and lock the doors and put on 2 masks and if anybody knocks on the door, crawl under the bed. So getting away from that, it was I decided to go back to the songs that were essential to me in life and songs that inspired me from my earliest ages. And I took my kids back to sing those songs with me and to harmonize with me. And that's what I did. And we would sing old gospel songs, classic country songs, and old time rock and roll songs. We wound up recording 34 songs together with my family. And it was a healing process. And they were all old songs, classic songs, but they were songs that inspired each one of us to want to be in the music in some form and to want to sing and make music together. And and it's also honoring the great songwriters that we feel like were essential in our lives of inspiring us. And so that's what we did. I recorded a song that I've loved all my life, or most of my life, is Paul McCartney's The Long and Winding Road. And it's still a classic song to me. And it's always had such feeling and emotion. But because it also relates to different things in my own life. But yeah, for what's the difference with what I'm doing with my family? I kind of make a decision of what I like to do and doing the songs and the players and everything that I want to do, and then getting the band to do what they want to do. And with the Oak Ridge Boys, it's kind of the same thing, you know. It's far as I guess I have less control over song selections for the group certainly than I do with some of the ones that we do.
Yeah, and I understand that Oaks are going to be releasing a new album about mamas this year. Before we go, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. What's that going to be about?
Man, it's exciting. We did another album with Dave Cobb. It's our 5th album with Dave Cobb. You know, he was on the award show the other night with
Chris
up there
Stapleton.
with Chris Stapleton. And it's the album of the year, you know, the song of the year and everything else. But Dave Cobb has got a tremendous track record as a record producer in mainstream country music and classic country, and he also did the movie for the Elvis movie that was out, the last Elvis movie. He did all that great music for that soundtrack for that entire movie, and but yeah, he did this, and he brought some of his writers in that wrote some songs. And I've got to sing one of the songs on there that's one of my favorite, that and one of the best songs that I've been able to sing in a long time. It's called Come On Home, and it's about a boy leaving home, taking off, and then when he's way away, then he calls back home, and then his mother, you know, telling him you're always welcome, you know, so come on home. If you're hurting and you're feeling alone, the door's always open and the lights are always on. Come on home.
That's a
So,
powerful
and
word.
these are young writers. Aaron Retier he writes with Dave Cobb's music publishing companies, but he wrote the last couple of albums we've done. He's written more than one song on there and been involved with it. He certainly was one of the songwriters on this song that I've got to sing, and Dwayne does a great job helping orchestrate all of that for us, helping coordinate finding the songs and listening to hundreds of them to get to the ones that we feel like singing, and then we all pitch it to Dave Cobb, and then he pitches songs to us, and then it's kind of he decides kind of which ones he wants to do next, and it kind of rolls like that. But it's a great it's great to record with both situations with my family because and also with the Oak Ridge Boys, and it's the first album that we've done with Ben James, and again, man, you'll see what an incredible talent he is. He sang one of these old song that was written before you was born. It was a Dottie Rambo song. It's called Mama's Teaching Angels How to Sing. And so it's a touching song, but Ben really sells it for us. It becomes his song. And there's some other great songs. He did a good up-tempo song on there too, but you get to show everybody's talent. Everybody gets to sing songs. Then we all get to harmonize.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. He did a great job on the Huckabee Show on Elvira. How was that, trying to relearn that? And I understand that you guys just recorded something special again with Danny. How come you had to record that again?
Well, what with the Elvira song?
Yeah.
We did that on it was the only natural album we did that originally was done for Cracker Barrel, Old Country Stores, and they have 650 old country stores from coast to coast. And they have a section there that they sell music and CDs. There's no record stores anymore. So, but it's one of the few outlets that really still sells CDs and records and things. So we did this album for them, and it was for a contract for a certain amount of time, and so then but they wanted Elvira on that album. And so that's when we re-recorded it. It's been about 10 years or so since we re-recorded it and put it on that album. But that will be coming out soon too. But Ben sang that on the Huckabee Show.
Yeah, and I understand that you guys did a video with Country Stars and Danny got to be part of
it. Yeah, we did. That was at John Rich's club with Big and Rich. He's got a club downtown in Nashville called the Redneck Riviera. And what the record label and the video producer decided to redo the song and make it that there was a group on stage singing it, that we come into the club and we sat at a table and watched this young group sing Oak Ridge Boys song. And so that's what it was. And Danny Stefanati was in that 4 groups up there of the 4 people on stage singing. So she was one of the singers on stage at the club, and us sitting in the audience and singing along with them out there. But other country music names, Kid Rock was there, and it was quite a crew of people, Big and Rich, but there were several, Lori Morgan, different people, some of the Gatlin brothers.
What? Yeah, man, and I can't wait for all of this new exciting stuff to come out. And what does the future of the Goldens look like?
Well, we're headed out here in June, out into Texas doing some shows, and also into New Mexico, and hopefully we get back in the studio. And we got a couple of songs we need to cut, and we need to do and put it back together. And so that's kind of what we're doing, and to fulfill some of the dates that we've got on our book to do when the Oak Ridge Boys aren't singing.
Yeah.
So Oak Ridge Boys are doing 75 dates, and so if we could do about maybe 40 or 50 dates with the Goldens, well, then that'll keep me busy.
Yeah, it'll keep you busy and staying busy better than staying on the house board, huh?
Yeah.
Busy. But William Lee, I want to say thank you again so much for coming on to the show today and hanging out with us for a little while. And it's always a good time talking to you. Give my love to the guys, and we'll see you at the festival.
Okay, Caden. Can't wait to see you, man. It won't be long now.
No, it won't be. And I can't wait for you guys to come back to Spokane.
Hey, man, I'd love to come back out there. You're looking good too, Caden.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I was wondering if I could get any more beard tips from you.
Well, I don't trim mine, so I haven't trimmed it anywhere in 44 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So my beard's older than you are.
Hey, Golden, it's always an honor, my friend. Thank you.
Have a great day, Caden.
You too, William Lee. And I just want to say before we get out of here, to make sure to go over to William Lee Golden and thegoldens.com one more time to check out everything where there'll be. Go to the WilliamLeeGoldenBook.com for this great book. And go to DannyStefanetti.com as well to keep everything up with. We love you guys.
All right.
Love.
See you, Caden.
See you later, William Lee Golden. And
all right.
Love you guys. Love one another. And happy birthday to Zach Power Judah. Just love you, buddy. See you soon.
Thank you. All right, Caden. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeehaw! The KGC Show, the Cowboy Caden, the KGC Show, the Cowboy Caden. Everybody know,